Superbooth 19. I'm here on the booth of Black Corporation with Bob. How are you?
Great. How are you?
Fine. A bit tired about the 3 days. And for you?
I'm enjoying myself. Seeing some interesting products and seeing some interesting live music. Somebody finally jumped in the pond. That was great with Ken Macbeth's show last night. Enjoyed that.
To be honest, you have a very privilege here on your booth. You have something to seat.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
It's a lot of companies who have something to seat. So
I made sure to wear comfortable shoes today. Yesterday I was pretty tired, but these have a little more cushioning in them. So
if you come next year to Superbooth, good shoes, very good shoes.
Yeah.
You are working for Black Corporation?
Yes.
For me, when I always read Black Corporation, it sounds like coming from Mr. Robot or something in hacker space or hacker company. What is Black Corporation?
Yeah, the imaging of it has kind of coincidentally, Black company in Japan has kind of a negative connotation. It's like a company that doesn't pay its workers enough for working overtime and functioning in this way. So we thought it would be funny and thought we'd enjoy the challenge of talking to, banks and official companies in Japan and telling them that our name is Black Corporation, just to watch them kind of flinch a little bit. But we like the color black. Black Corporation had a nice sound to it, and yeah, that's no deeper meaning than that.
So you are based in Tokyo?
Tokyo.
And how many people are you in the company? Is it already a bigger one, or it's very boutique-like, I think?
Yeah, it ranges. We have, officially, there's Roman and myself, and we have our firmware developer who works out of Russia, and we have another person coming we're working on visa for that also does engineering and testing, and Ken, who's playing your cameraman today, is another engineer at the office. So we do have more temporary staff join us here and there, depending on where we are in a project, but basically the 6 of us trying to do everything.
And your company doesn't exist not so long, but you have your guys have a specific background already in the synthesizer domain,
right?
Or are you brand new? What is your background, for example?
I've just been a synth enthusiast since I was a kid, and it was funny when I graduated high school. I was like, oh, I want to build synthesizers for a living. Didn't get around to it until 2 years ago, and I met Roman. I don't know, maybe about 5 years ago. I'm really bad with timing. Maybe 6 years ago at the first Tokyo Festival of Modular that I went to. I was DJing the night before for a mutual friend of ours who introduced us, and he had to run off, so I took him out, and we hit it off, and here we are.
To be honest, I was 2 years ago at Tokyo Festival of Modular. It's a wonderful modular festival in Tokyo. There are really nice people there, and I'm looking forward to go this year again, so hopefully. Your company, so it's known already now because there was a synth you're creating. It was
Deckards Dream.
Deckards Dream.
Yeah, Deckards Dream. Is a very soundtracky synth.
It has a lot of media coverage, a lot of the teasers and photos, and people thinking, it's a CS80 clone.
Yeah. Well,
but you
certainly inspired by it, yeah.
But you always met us on the booth. We are talking. The Deckards Dream is not a clone, or is it a clone? And also on the forums, they talking. Is it a puristic clone, or is it a replica? Talking replica.
Sure. Well, it's trickier to search for the right word to use for that, because if we were to clone something like a CS80, we wouldn't be able to have it in that form factor. So it's obviously not a circuit for circuit clone.
So it would be for you if it had the same dimensions and the same interface, a clone.
Yeah, and well, especially the circuits. So these circuits were designed basically from nothing, from the ground up, and there were certain sounds that Roman was looking for to come out of these devices, and just matching the functionality, and just trying to get access to that sound that someone with $20,000
And
couldn't have access to.
Roman is your engineer, or he's making the circuits, or
He's kind of like the crazy genius behind Black Corporation. He's the brain. Yeah, I'm the beauty.
and how came the idea to making the Deckards Dream? There was a longer period where you were working on it, or there were the plans. Where comes the idea from?
I think he started working on it around the end of 2016 and developed it over the year. We started the company mid 2017 and started getting into the testing and manufacturing. And we had our first run shipped November of that year, after a few months of customers who put down pre-orders that kind of helped us develop everything. And so we had our first run almost a year after his initial idea. And we learned a lot in the process. So with Kijimi, it was much faster to develop. Still took some time, but the development process is moving a lot faster because we know we're a little more experienced now.
So everything is it's discrete, and it's controlled digital inside, or there's presets.
Well, you need digital control for the presets, of course, but the signal path is completely analog.
But what was the aim of Roman, or also yours, when you start a company, when you start developing the Deckards Dream? What was the aim of it? Do you want, because making a clone, there are many companies doing it, clone it, and it's done.
Right.
But I think your synth has some other features inside, or also other ideas inside.
Yeah, we have what I like to joke is our shtick. We do polyphonic analog synthesizers. That's just our first 3 synths that support polyphonic aftertouch, MPE functionality, which we're one of the earlier hardware builders making things that support MPE, and still ironing out some issues, but it's starting to come out really nice.
You work there together with Rolly and all the companies which creating this standard, or you trying and trial and error? And
a bit of trial and error. We do sometimes communicate with Rolly and Lindstrument, Roger Lynn, and Haken. We're trying to get everyone communicating just for better functionality, but it's still been a slow process.
So I think you're creating these clones with this, bringing these modern features inside, like resets, MPE. So that was for you the aim, to make not only the clones who are like in the 80s.
We like to use the term replicant.
Replica and
replicant.
Replicants.
Yeah.
And so you try to making them they sound analog, or it sounds very vintage, but making them modern,
yes.
Right?
Yeah. So the controllability is modern control over.
And how it comes on the idea to make them on desktop, or not on keys? Is that?
Yeah. Of course we're toying with the ideas. We ship everything from Japan, so if we were to come up with a keyboard design, we'd also have to think about the logistics of shipping these things. We have a very small office, so I can't imagine having even 50 keyboards in the office at the moment. But it's an idea we may play around with. We don't know. The reason that we can't do it right now is nobody makes a proper keybed that supports polyphonic aftertouch. And if we were just to put something out with a modern current keybed, you'd be missing a huge feature of that. So it wouldn't make sense for us right now.
But you have also a kind of different way to deliver your stuff, because you have not only the pre-built stuff, but you have also DIY. And I think that's one of the ambitious projects for DIYer.
Sure.
When I see the entire case when they delivered with all the PCBs, with everything,
right.
It looks like, how long do you need it for? 1 year?
Well, it depends. Experienced builders can do it, have been known to do it in about 50 hours. Sometimes, for some it'll take a little longer, but most of the components are through-hole, so I'm not much of a solderer, and even I can put one together. I haven't built one from scratch, but I, you know, it would only take a few minutes of practice for a few surface mount components to really get it right.
And designing the Deckards Dream, it was always directly in your head. We making it DIY also, or
yeah. So Roman's history, he was involved very heavily with the DIY community. He was, making. Well, he started off, getting DIY kits himself, and realized that he wanted to make a few basic items, and then he created his modular company Sputnik, which he kind of moved away from that, but he still kept in touch with the DIY community. And then when he moved on to these projects, he thought, why can't somebody DIY it? So, our original poster for Deckards Dream says the world's first polyphonic analog DIY synthesizer, and
it's an impressive project to make it. Also for not only for a company to make it happen like such a big synth as DIY, but also for a big project for the buyers.
Sure.
Such a DIY. Well,
one really great thing about the DIYers is there's an amazing community. There's a Facebook group and on Muff Wigglers. The community is really, really supportive and helpful, and some of them are even willing to help out if somebody makes a mistake. Just send it over to me, I'll fix it. And really, really nice people that take a lot of the pressure off of us to kind of have to be supportive of that.
It can be a bit more heavy or a bit more not so easy than to handle all these DIY people from Tokyo, because often they are sit in the US or in Europe. Right. So how you handle if there are problems? You said now in communities, but if there's not a problem, do you have some official partners, or how you can see this?
Well, we have people that we trust that if somebody's having trouble, we just put them in contact, and they usually work out. And we'll send nice presents to people who help us out there, and
So these people have made the achievement. They receive an achievement to build already the.
Yeah, I mean there's definitely something that comes with being able to play with a synthesizer that you build yourself. Obviously, you kind of feel more connected to it. So, I don't know. Maybe there's a fetish involved. I don't know. Punishment.
I have talked also at NAMM show already. Do you have some amazing sound designers also for your presets?
For Kijimi, we had Matthew Johnson, techno producer based in Berlin, actually. He did the factory bank for these. We have Paul Schilling also does some really nice patches for us. A few people like that like to get involved, and some other volunteers, and that helps us kind of develop everything.
You choose them very carefully, taking your design of your presets, or do you want to have a specific tone to your presets?
When we talk to somebody doing presets for us, we just kind of give them the directive of just show off anything that the synth can do. So make them very aftertouch friendly, or something that'll vary with the velocity. Have a lot of that involvement, and
so you're always in communication with the sound designer.
Yeah, and then we just give them all the rest of the freedom, and so that's just the instruction that we give them. Just make use of the functions and have at it, and then we get them back, and generally we're pretty happy.
On the Superbooth with other companies where I talked, they said we inviting our sound designers. They make the sounds, and we will be surprising us in the end what's the result. So for your company, it's different. You interact together with sound designers.
Yeah, generally, like when we're developing anything, we're in constant communication, going back and forth. Whether it's our firmware guy, the new engineer who's an amazing he's kind of a ball buster with the testing and stuff. So he's like, no, this is not perfect. He'll go back and yell at the firmware guy, and then figure out what can be done and what can't be done. And
at Superbooth 19, Now you are presenting the Kiamichi or Kiamichi?
Kijimi. I should post on Facebook. Come visit our booth so we could teach you how to pronounce it. Kijimi.
The synth is, where comes this name from?
There's a really interesting story about that.
Yeah. And does it mean something? Is it a Japanese name or?
It's, how can we describe it? Yeah, there isn't a real word for it. It's just a fun thing to say.
Okay. And the Kijimi is based on?
How this got started was we liked some classic synths, which instead of selecting the waveform, just having it morph between the waves in here, and then adding something like a modulation matrix to it, so that these, like the LFOs and the envelope and velocity, can control other parameters on it. So it's not really based, it's not meant to sound like anything else, but having it be kind of modular without all the cables is that's what it is. It's just a modular synth without all the cables.
And the core is a known synthesizer, as we're talking not about clones here, but about replicas or replicants. What was the core of it?
So there was a synth made by RSF called Kobo in the 70s. They didn't make very many, so we do have a luxury that it doesn't necessarily have to sound like something, because most people wouldn't know what it sounds like. So rather than calling this a clone or a replica, we could say it was inspired by that synth idea.
You know, maybe from Roman or your personal or your decisions taken to make this one. Why do you make it? It's because it's so a raw synth. It's not known by many people.
Yeah.
So, is it the reason you take this one for as inspiration?
Well, so this is one way that we can answer to, somebody who has a modular synth and all the money that's necessary on building basically this with modular and simplifies it and makes it a little more affordable. I mean, obviously it's not a cheap synth, but it's much more affordable than a whole system that would do the same thing.
And especially the polypole wall is for you, or it was that synth?
Yeah.
That sound, or
it was more the workings of it rather than the sound.
Interface of it.
And always thought like the modulation matrix is just such a fun thing to play with for anyone that comes and uses it. And everybody who's been coming to the booth just sit there and just like punch away at the buttons, and something new comes out.
It's always Superbooth. It's always the knob.
Yeah.
Knob show.
Yeah.
Bob,
Yep.
I'm big thanks for this overview of Black Corporation.
Sure.
And we know now it's not a hackerspace or a very dark company. No, it's a synthesizer company from Tokyo. I wish you good luck for your second synthesizer.
Yes.
And there's also a third one, which was already on NAMM show.
Yes. We showed Xerxes, which is our next synth. We showed that at NAMM. Will be available in third or fourth quarter this year. We're taking pre-orders for that this week or next week. Pre-orders will begin. And that's actually going to be a tabletop with the option of adding rack ears. You're hearing it first here.
So I'm also looking forward to for next NAMM show what you have then on the board, maybe something definitely evolved.
Well, for the next show, we're not sure which shows we're gonna do in the next year. NAMM was a little. NAMM is always fun that you get to see all your friends and everything, but the synth section seemed kind of like it was flailing. Very few companies came in, so seemed like I don't know how excited we would be to go back to NAMM. So, yeah, maybe see you there.
So I wish you good luck for the new synth, for your company, and that we see you again next year.
Yeah.
Big thanks.
Great.
And big thanks to your engineer for making the camera. Thank you. And see you soon in one of the next videos. Bye.